Hey guys, and welcome back. So Volvo failed MOT. One of the jobs that need doing is pads and discs on the front. Now this is quite a basic job, but we'll run through it anyway for anyone that wants to know. I haven't done it before. So first thing you need to do is, as I've done it, is up in the air. I've suspended both sides. Now the reason I've done that, whatever you like to do, but the reason I do this is you can turn the wheel left and right. It does make it easier when you're faffing around with the calipers. So both sides are up, one side of the wheel is off and it's ready to go. Second thing, check the parts that you've got. Now I've got the discs down here and the pads over there. You want to double check that they are the right fit. Last thing you need to be doing is stripping it down only to find that it doesn't fit. So they are right, they are correct, so we're ready to crack on with the job. So yeah, let's go. Okay, so I like to take my time doing these because I like to give it a good clean up at the same time, because there's just a lot of build up of dust, crap and all that stuff. So I've got wire brush, give it a good clean up at the same time. The first thing, we just need to remove this clip here. These always come off quite nicely sometimes. There we go, get him out of the way. And then we just want to actually remove the caliper, so we need to undo. We've got some Allen bolts in here, take these little rubber caps off there, and we've got a 7mm Allen socket that will just pop in there and remove those two nuts top and bottom. That will move the caliper away from the disc, so we'll crack on with that. Okay, so those two bolts are now out. This is what they look like. They will be getting a good clean up and a copper grease after when they all go back in together. These are little caps that sit over top, so that caliper will now just sort of get something in there, screwdriver, something, pry that away. Now see the position, this is what I was talking about when I turn the steering wheel. It's facing outwards towards me. It does make it a lot easier to get down the back, but again, it's personal preference. So, but we'll get a screwdriver in there and start pulling that from top to bottom. There we go, it's coming off nicely, so I'll just remove that from there. And there we go, caliper is off, out of the way. I've just lent it up there, which is quite safe because you do not want that to be dangling. But that'll all be cleaned up anyway when it goes back together. But that then exposes the very minimal life on these pads. Should have done this last year really, but oh well, done now. So that's off. So now the carrier itself. Now sometimes these discs do come off without the carrier removed, but this time we are going to remove it just to clean it up. So we'll get that off with those two 17mm bolts at the back there. Now just to correct myself, they're actually a 15mm nut on the. I don't know why I said 17 because I knew they were 15. I was 15, or did I say 16? I don't know, but they're 15mm. So yeah, just double check that. But they're just a bit tight, so bit of penetrating fluid, and they'll come off nicely. All right, that's those two out and the carrier off, so that could be cleaned up nicely, and then the disc's ready to come off. Now doesn't look, there's usually a bolt or something holding that disc in place, but in this case there's not. So just around these edges, I clean that up first and then give that a boom, and then that disc should just come flying off. So yeah, hopefully it's that easy. There we are, a few taps and he's off, so he can go to the scrap at some point. But there's a lot of rust and dirt and stuff, so I'm just going to give this a bit of time of just cleaning it up with a flathead screwdriver and a wire brush to get that all nice and tidy, because that is absolutely minging. Right, so once you get it a nice clean, I mean that's by no means perfect, but to get all that off is just going to be a miracle. I mean, you want to concentrate mainly on the actual hub, getting all in the cracks there, and this sort of flat surface here, because that's where the disc's going to sit. So if there's a lot of crap on there, the disc's not going to sit flush, so you want to make sure that's all extra clean. I could put a bit of that on the just for future reference, not that we need it now, but it's always good to keep them. Oh, same with that as well. So I always do stuff like this just to keep it clean for future purposes, because you never know. You never know. Anyway, so what we need to do now is take the cap off the brake fluid and then just squeeze this in. Now I've got a G-clamp to do this, so we're going to get that squeezed in, and then we start putting the new disc and pads back on. Right, so that caliper, the piston's now wound all the way in, keeping a close eye on the level there, don't want it to overflow. Right, now that's done, we can get the disc in place. So I've got some clutch and brake cleaner there, so we're going to give that a good clean and get that in place, and just put a nut on there to hold it down. I'll get the pads on and we'll get it all back together again in reverse order. Very straightforward. Okay, just once the discs on there and caliper carrier back in place again. Personal preference, but I like to put a bit of copper grease on the slides there where the discs will go, where the pads will go. Does make it a bit easier, frees them up a little bit better sliding. And then yeah, that's all on. That's tightened up. So we'll get the pads in place there. One in the caliper itself, and then one on the front here. And then that'll all go back together, and we can tighten that up. And that's that one. So that's now the caliper back in place. Those two bolts there. The Allen ones all tightened up. Finally, don't forget to put your clip back, and then that is it. If you want to give it another clean over just in case, yeah, absolutely. One thing I would do now, and what I always do, is pump the brake pedal. And the reason to do that is the last thing you want to be doing is getting it all done, jump into the car, go and test your brakes. You put your foot on the brake a couple of times and it's not going to work until all those they've made contact. So as a safety thing, I always give it a few pumps before starting the next side, and then you never forget. But that is it. So I'm not going to bother doing this side on camera, the other side on camera, because it's exactly the same, so I can just whip through that in a minute. That is it, all done. So those are on there nice. Hopefully there's no other issues. So once the wheel's back on, that'll all go back into place. Once you've done the other side, of course, check the level of the brake fluid, because once you've pushed them pistons out, it's already coming up the top now. So I'll check the level and then remove some if needs be. But yeah, that is it. So that is how you do the discs and pads on a Volvo V50. Very straightforward, again, something that's quite simple. Not too many specialist tools to use at all, really. A basic service job, but for anyone that is not too sure and they want to crack it on with themselves, that is how you do it. Very simple. But yeah, all done. So hopefully we'll get a pass on the MOT. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe as always, and I will certainly try and get some more content up on this car very soon, if it needs it. Goodbye.